Okay, let's get started. Here we are again, class number 6 of 10 for this week. I'm going to really love this class today. Mobile apps, what cops need to know. Let me introduce Constable Laurie McCann. She has been a police officer with a large metropolitan police service in Canada since 1998. She has been actively involved with social media for more than 8 years and has spoken nationally and internationally on social media, cyberbullying, apps, and how it affects law enforcement. Laurie previously spent 3 years speaking in both grade school students, high school students, parents, and other police agencies regarding social media and the effects of cyberbullying, sexting, and safe internet use. Laurie.
Thanks, Laurie, and thanks for having me here. I'm super excited. I want to start off, first of all, with a quick video for you guys. So we're going to be talking about mobile apps, and I'm going to start you off with a quick video.
No, I do not use Facebook. I know it as like a parent social media kind of thing. Like my grandma, my aunts are on Facebook.
That was like the first thing to come out, Facebook. So like after like Instagram and all that came out, we wanted to get the newer thing.
I use my phone for everything.
Instagram and Snapchat.
I either go on Snapchat or I'm on Instagram.
I do use Uber.
I'm on Snapchat and Instagram a lot. I'm using Instagram just to post pictures that I feel like pretty confident about.
I usually get above 100 likes.
I don't know, probably about 130 in the 200s.
Maybe like 74.
When a friend doesn't like my photo, I'm just like my photo.
You tell them to like it.
Yeah.
My mom, sometimes she wants me to like go outside and like get some fresh air.
They're taking away my chargers. They say that I'm going to go crazy because I spend too much time on my phone.
You're wasting your time frying your brain on that screen.
Yes, I can imagine a few days like going to technology, because then I would just be outside working out and getting better at sports.
I really don't think that I can imagine a world without technology.
I got to think about that. I don't know what to do then. My parents are always like, yeah, when I was growing up, we had to play outside and we never had phones.
But I think they were more close with their friends and family. They didn't have like an excuse to be like on their phone at the dinner table. There was no phones at the dinner table.
What does worry me about technology is people like cyberbullying. People are called names when they try to speak their mind.
I mean, there's always people that are going to hate on you. You should just concentrate on the people that like your stuff.
Do you know all the people who are liking your photo?
I know probably 80 to 90% of the people who are liking my photos.
Before I have met somebody, I've seen their Instagrams and see how they look and see how they like kind of act and how they perceive themselves. And so without that, I really just don't know how I would see people or get to know people.
This is my brief but spectacular take.
And this is my brief but spectacular take.
On technology.
On being a teenager. On what technology means to me.
And anything else you want to say?
Follow me on Instagram.
That was pretty easy.
This is our reality. We're dealing with kids and their phones, and I would say even adults that are on their phone on a regular basis. The pandemic has not helped this. As we all very well know, kids have turned to online for school and they're on their phones, I would say almost 24/7. I think the only time they're not is when they're sleeping. And I think that's even less than what it should be. So let's take out all the bad stuff with social media and just the fact that kids are on their phone 70 to 80% more than they usually are is they're at risk for exposure, and that could be cyberbullying. And then you bring in the pedophiles and the hate mongers and the trolls, which would be added to all of that. So we have a major, major issue obviously going on. And a lot of our policing, which used to be on the streets dealing with individuals and it's face-to-face crime, a lot of that has gone to online crime or a combination of both. So, FOMO, what is that? The fear of missing out. I think all of us have a bit of that, being on your phone because, God forbid we miss something. If we put our phone down, and kids are 10 times worse when it comes to that because they do not want to miss what their friends are posting. And as you can see in that video, they asked them what they were going to do without their phones, and they were like, I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to do without my phone. It is an extension of their arm. I show you this picture, and this was back in 2002. Alicia was one of the first people to be groomed online. If you guys remember our old computers, you know, with the big backing on it, the screen was somewhat green, and there wasn't a lot to it. We had a couple of chat rooms out there. There was no apps. There was none of that. She was groomed to the point of meeting up with this 16-year-old boy she met online. Obviously, that 16-year-old boy was not a 16-year-old boy. This was him. He basically kidnapped her. He beat and raped her for 4 days. And he was posting it on this site for pedophiles. One of the guys that he had communicated with, and they were talking about their fantasies, he never thought this guy was going to live it out. His whole motive, he went to a payphone and called the police because his whole motive was, I didn't think he was going to act it out. I've now seen these videos. He's going, you know, if they find out, I'll go to jail. So he just didn't want to go to jail and ratted this guy out. And thankfully, within 2 hours, the FBI, through an IP address, found Alicia and saved her life, basically. So apps, 90% of apps, I want to say, probably about 90%, you have to be 13 years of age or older to download them. That's in the small print that nobody ever looks at. Can you lie about your age? 100%. But technically, you're supposed to be 13 years of age and older, and that even includes Facebook. And then we have the apps that you have to be 18 years and older, but again, you can lie about your age. So House Party, I'm not too sure how many of you have heard about House Party. It became a huge thing, especially when COVID hit, because people needed a way to communicate with their family, with their friends, with strangers, you name it. So House Party has always been there, but it kind of, it grew exponentially when the pandemic started. The only downfall with the House Party, and it's video chat that you can do with your friends and stuff, is that you can sneak into somebody's house. And that's basically how they put it. They have a hand waving now for their app, but it used to be a solo red cup, need I say more. So the sneaking into the house is a bit of a problem because basically I can quietly sneak, exactly how it's worded, sneak into the house and get into one of the conversations, and then you are not going to know that I am there. So if two people, teenagers, whatever the case may be, are having a one-on-one conversation, that third party can sneak in. You have no idea that they're even there. So that's a bit of an issue with this app. And again, you can meet strangers on there. We're going to talk about, again, if you're dealing with a crime that's happened on here, I'm going to get to that later on, but just kind of understanding how these apps work. So these are live video chatting apps, the next few that I'm going to talk about. And this one, again, it's not all horrible, but you can meet strangers on here. It's very easy to meet strangers on here and sneak in other people's homes, per se, on the app. Snapchat, as we all know, is a huge one. Everybody uses it, right from young kids up to adults. Companies are using it. You can use it for news. You can use it for one-on-one chat. You can send videos. You can post stories. The one thing I'll give Snapchat is that their server is encrypted, which means even if someone hacks into their system, that's their system, not somebody's account, two totally different things, that the stuff is encrypted. I can tell you a recent story of someone whose account was hacked. They had two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication, I think, is a false sense of security, because with that, you think no one can get into my account. Well, it has happened. Pictures were stolen from there, and then they were then sent a message through Instagram to that same person threatening them. So it does happen. It happens all the time. Now, how do you handle that? How do you handle that? Because now you're dealing with two separate mobile apps. You've got to grab that information. You've got to grab the information of the person sending it to the victim on both accounts and do either an MLAT or a production order, which we're going to talk about later. So Snapchat is huge. It's a huge one right now. There's many features that they have on Snapchat. The first one on the left where it says team, I just grabbed that. You can see where it says opened. Where it says open, those are where photos were. You can have conversations. If you want to save a message, you basically press and hold the message. When Snapchat first came out, you were never able to do this. You can only screen grab stuff. So you can press and hold the button or the actual message that someone has sent you, and it will save into your Snapchat, or you can save it to your camera roll. You can also screen grab it. Again, remember, when you save a message or screen grab a message, the person that sent it to you will be notified that you have done that. You also have the feature now that and I think we've all done this, you send a message to the wrong person or in the wrong group and you go, oh my God, I just did that. What do I do? If it's been unopened, you can delete that chat and they won't see it. So that's a feature they have as well. And again, if you're looking at someone's account, maybe you've got the victim's phone and you want to see what time a message was sent, you hold the message and slide it to the right, and it will give you times when these conversations happen. And you'll see that in the bottom one there where it says Shelly Monster, you'll see the times. So there's many features of Snapchat, but it's not the old adage of once it's in there, it's gone. If you send or receive a message, go out of the app and go back in, there's a good chance that it will be gone unless you've set your settings so it saves it for 24 hours. Most people, if they don't have their Snapchat on ghost mode, then what happens is, and I'm going to show you on the next slide, you can go in on a public, you can either do it on a mobile app or on a computer on how to check and see what stories people are posting. That's the only thing you can see is their stories. My Snapchat's in ghost mode, so you would never see, if I did post a story, you wouldn't see it because I have it in ghost mode. I'm going to show you what that looks like if it's not. So you would go to map.snapchat.com. You could put in an address, you can put in a city, you can put in a location, and then what's going to happen is, and I'll show you on the next slide through the mobile app, is all of these spots are going to pop up and you click on it and you're going to see the last story that they posted. So as you can see in this one, it's 9 hours ago, or it could be 5 seconds ago. So whatever the last story is that user posted is what you're going to see. Now, I know when they had one of the terrorist attacks in England, I think it was on the subway, people video or recorded that. I'm dating myself here. Recorded that and uploaded it to their Snapchat story, and it was seen here because their account was public and they are not in ghost mode. So my daughter is in ghost mode, and I'm going to show you what I had to do for her. So on your phone, if you pull your fingers together or you slide it down, there's the option of going to the Snap Map, or you can do it through settings. This is asking me to allow it to have my locations because I never have my locations on, safety feature, and we'll get into that again later as well. So I allow it. I am still in ghost mode. You can see me up at the top there with the ghost on my head. So I'm in ghost mode. I can see myself. Nobody else can. At the bottom, Laurie, that's our good friend, Scott Mills. At the bottom there, you can see that's how close we live to each other. So do I want to see the world? It's going to go off my locations. It's going to bring up to where I am at. And you'll see all those light blue spots, looks almost like water. Those are all snaps. And as you zoom into that, they will start popping up for you and you can click on it. So this one goes off my locations, or I can put an address in. And this is all off the mobile phone. I just screen grabbed each screen for you to show you how that works. So it is a great feature. These are all open source. I know you're going to be seeing somebody named Nathan Daler tomorrow. He does a lot of investigative cyber stuff. I'm the open source type of information. So this is not something where you have to have special certificates to do. It's all out there for you to see. You're not going into any other account. You're not getting into passwords. It's all open source information. So because my daughter's account is locked down, if you can see here, I have to go and request, I've circled it for you, her location. And then the next one's going to show me, okay, there's the map. I click on it and it will show me exactly where she is. So anyone that is in ghost mode or you can't find them, this is more, I guess, on a personal side of things, you can request their location. They may or may not give it to you, but the option is there for you to do that. Oh, the almighty TikTok. So it used to be called Musical.ly and then was bought out by a company in China and is now called TikTok. This is massive. This goes right from young kids all the way up. So before it was just used for dancing and making silly videos. I'm not going to lie. I tried to make one. It was horrible. It went horribly wrong. I'll never do it again. But you can now get, it's informative. You can get recipes off there, which I've done, I'm going to admit, and a whole bunch of other really cool things. So again, there's a great side to TikTok, but then there's that the dark side to it as well. It's a lot of it is settings. And as you can see in the first video that I showed you, what did one of the girls say? It's how many likes I can get, right? Oh, I get about 200. Oh, I tell my friends to like my stuff if they don't like it. You can do a 15-second video on here, or you can do a up to 60-second loop video as well on TikTok. So that's a lot of time to be posting stuff. Problem is you get a lot of kids that go on here. Parents have no idea they even open the account or don't know how to use it themselves. So they'll go on and it's a public account. Might be great for us when you're looking for information. If accounts are public, it's free, it's yours. You can take it, use it for investigations because it's an open account. So it's open source. Again, if you're finding stuff on there, crimes happen, maybe someone's been victimized by bullying on there. And again, when I say bullying, I don't really like that term. It is technically criminal harassment, well, here in Canada. But you know, the comments are being made, maybe threats are being made online through one of the videos that these people have posted, and you have to gather that information. Well, how do we do that? We're going to get to that. So here's a prime example. This young girl here, she's 11. Again, she wants to get all the likes. Her account is public. Everybody's posting. You can tell by the language of these people that are talking on her account that they're young, except for the old guy at the end. Really not too sure why he's on TikTok, but with his language and saying that she's only 11, like basically back off. I'm baffled at why he's on there. But she wants to get those likes and be famous, right? That's the big thing right now is I want to be famous on TikTok or I want to be famous on YouTube. So these kids have their accounts wide open, which obviously is a huge issue because if they're online, who else is online, right? Criminals, pedophiles. And then you get videos like this, right? People pretending to take their lives, threatening to kill people, and kids have more and more time on their hands, and what they think is funny obviously might not be taken as funny by somebody else and could be taken very seriously. So the key thing obviously with TikTok, I'm keeping an eye on the time, I don't want Laurie to yell at me, is obviously privacy. Who can send you messages, who can download your videos. Obviously you don't want them to do that because it's for you and your followers. So the allowing download, which is below the hand on the left, you want to have that off. Who can send me messages? Again, you want that on friends only, and same with who can do a video with me. So what a duet is say I posted a video on there, you really like it, and then you'll go and do the same video, and maybe we're not even friends, you don't even know me. You'll do the same video and then you do it side by side. So we're doing the same video together. That's what that is. We're going to move on to an online gaming app. This one here, Discord, is for the gamers. Now, once COVID hit, Discord wanted to make their app more appealing to people other than gamers. So it used to be called the Discord app. They've taken out the app part. I'm not too sure why, but is what they did. And they kind of made it for businesses and for other platforms. It's still a big app for the gamers out there. And they use it basically to talk to other gamers, to talk about games. You can follow threads. So if you're into Fortnite, be on the Fortnite thread, whatever that game is that you like. You can be on multiple threads, but you can also send private messages on here as well. We had an incident here in Canada, and I don't know the full details. It was not my service that dealt with it, where a young gentleman, I shouldn't say gentleman, but ended up killing his whole family. And you can see what he does is he takes his, goes through the Discord app. He's very, you know, a lot of people know him on that app. He's a gamer, and he posts, this is the ad and what he had done. So the one on the right there is his character on Discord. And what he started doing was posting messages and to his friends and followers on Discord. And what happened with this case was these people weren't too sure if he was serious or not serious. You can see in this message here, the second one, do you want the pics? He actually did post the pics of his family members that he had killed. These gamers were like, where is this guy? Do we know where he lives? And they were actually trying to contact police when he was posting this because they didn't know, you know, he's this fictional character. Well, you can see his real picture on the left, but they had no idea where he was from. They didn't even know if that was his real name, which it is, but they didn't know that. And they were making contact with police long before anybody else was. So he did go and talk to his online world. He doesn't know any of these people. But again, now you're dealing with, you've got a physical crime scene and you've got a digital crime scene. And how do you gather this? Because this is information you're going to need for court. So how do we gather that? And we're going to get into that. Dating apps, well, there's 101 dating apps out there, and I don't have enough time to go through them. So I took the big one because a lot of people still use Tinder. Tinder, again, is one of those ones, yeah, it's free. Anything that is free, you know, and especially in the dating world, I'd always be leery of because you can get everybody and anybody on there. If someone's serious about finding somebody, I'd say they go to the paid ones, not the free ones. But what happens with Tinder is stuff like this. We had this was happening in Toronto, where these three individuals basically were finding people, victims on Tinder, and they were, you know, meeting up with them and then trying to force them into the sex trade, robbing them, you know, and they did actually have a few that were they got in for human trafficking. And they were eventually caught and charged, obviously, because all of this is done online. And that the fact that it was done through an app, there's a footprint, right? We all know what a digital footprint is. And every time any one of these three individuals went on there, had a conversation with somebody, they leave a digital footprint. If you take the victim's phone, you're going to get the raw data from these conversations, and it's easier to find that information. Okay, so I'm just gonna get you guys, and Laurie, I hope you don't mind doing this. Not for a question, but hit the raise your hand button if you've heard of this app, and then Laurie can count, and then put your hand down.
We have 2 so far.
2 people have heard of it. Hey, that's and it's probably Derek because he's heard me talk about it.
Yeah, Derek and Sarah.
I knew it. Okay, so what this is. And most people, my mouse decided to conk out on me. It's basically Tinder for kids. You have to be between the ages of 13 and 18 to be on this app. But yet again, we all know people lie about their age. It is a pedophile's dream. So the symbol is the yellow one at the top, and it looks like kind of like a mouth type thing there. This one here, again, is basically called Tinder for kids. That's what it is called. It brings itself as, hey, meet some new friends. What happens is if they put their locations in there and they have to post a picture, their profile picture has to be their face, or you will get locked out of this app. I did download it. I took a fake photo. I put it there. It was not a full face, and I got locked out because I didn't have a full profile picture there. Again, you can meet anybody on here. If you put your location, I found one where a guy had his hockey jersey on, had his name, his age, what city he was from. I just have to go online and look up that team, and I can find out where they skate and practice at. So kids don't think of these things. And I can tell you an officer found his son on there, and that was not a good day. And I don't think I'd want to be in his house that night when he got home. So it is still out there. It used to be called Yellow, and it used to be just a yellow square. It's now been changed to the name Yubo, and it's there. And there is 7 million users between the ages of 13 and 18. And I'm going to say within that 7 million, there's a whole whack of pedophiles that are in there as well. Another live streaming app is YouNow. I don't know if anybody's heard of this one. It is geared towards teens. It's one of those ones where you can basically, let's say your parents say, no, you can't have a YouTube channel. Well, you can go to YouNow. You can have conversations with people, but you can also just post videos and people can watch and you can get likes. This is what looks on a website, and you can go on there and you can see all the videos at the bottom. These are people whose accounts are wide open and you can look at their videos. On a mobile app, here's one example. You can see here, Brittany, I'm going to say she's 14 because she's put the number 14 there. If you look at the comments on the right, you get some really, a lot of perverts in here. And the one that says, can I be your boyfriend? You have no idea how old this person is, who they are. They've just got the silhouette. Becoming a fan is basically a like. And the more fans you get, you can get basically Bitcoin and money and all of this other stuff on here. I can tell you flat out, I've dealt with a 14-year-old girl who was addicted to the internet. She was on this site and had several accounts. She sent a guy with obviously her mother's credit card, sent her $3,000 through this app because she thought, I don't know what she was thinking, but she did it. And this was just a guy talking on there and convinced her to send $3,000. You can see the gold bars up there. She has 155. That's what you want to collect on here. This one here on the left, you can see in the top right of her, she's dancing. She's probably about 10 or 11. The top right, she's got 200 people watching her. And there's a very good chance that in there is some pretty sick people watching her. She's been on there, if you look at the left, for 1 hour and 3 minutes. And she's just dancing. I kind of caught her in a spot, like as I screen grabbed it. It doesn't look the best, but she's on there dancing. And she's got all these fans and people watching her. The one on the right, that's on through the laptop, and the same thing. She's just kind of leaning up. You can see she's got her computer there, or her keyboard, and she's talking. But again, she's about 9 or 10. So this app is a pedophile's dream come true, because if their accounts are wide open, many, many, many bad things happen on here. Facebook Live, we all know about Facebook Live. Again, I don't have Instagram in here because I didn't have the time to add all these apps, but no, Instagram is owned by Facebook. So they are very similar platforms if you haven't noticed that. with their Facebook Live and their stories. So Facebook Live has been used for good things, but it's also used for bad. The one at the top left is a girl that Facebook, she live streamed her suicide. And the one at the bottom, it was a disabled young man that was being tortured. He survived, but on Facebook Live, and they posted it. I guess a lot of teens think that, you know, they're indestructible, they can't be caught, and they very boldly post these things. We know of many, and I'm sure as law enforcement, we know of many different occurrences that has happened that have made it into the news of crimes that have happened on Facebook Live. So it is an issue. And again, it's gathering that information. So for Facebook Live, if I needed to get anything, I could do a production order because we have an office in Canada. And then for you guys that are in the US, you have your office in the US. So it would just be a production order. Okay, I'm gonna do one more hand raising on this one. Has anyone heard of Tell on Me? Any hands, Laurie?
0.
Okay, good. I want to get you with at least one app. Okay, so this one here, it's not as hot as it used to be, but it's still active, it's still live, it's still out there. And what this one does, it works through Instagram, Twitter, and I believe you can use it on Facebook as well. No, sorry, Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram. So this is they have a Twitter account, and basically, you know, is there ever a day when you'll get to see who said something? Absolutely not. It is an anonymous app. The next slide I'm going to show you is a girl that was being bullied on there. This is a real message that was sent to me, and I helped this family out. So again, you're never going to know who it's from. Obviously, by reading this message, you can tell it's another somebody who went to school with her just from the language. But this is the kind of stuff that happens. Now, this is a rare occasion where thankfully the daughter went to her mom and we got them the help they needed. But there's a lot of times where kids won't, they'll hold it in. And then the secondary stuff happens, whether that's, you know, mental health issues and otherwise. So how do you deal with this? And I'll show you where I did screen grab where this app is housed. Because they may say they have a US office, but it's where the server is housed. And that's where you want to either do the MLAT or the production order on. This one, there's no good that can come of this. A mother put on a review basically that it needs to be shut down. It's basically a bullying app because you can say whatever you want on this app and nobody's going to know who it's coming from. Obviously, as law enforcement, we have tools and we can, you know, get through to who owns that account. A little different, right? But when looking at this app, I've seen a lot of teens that will put it in even in their bio on Instagram or their bio on Snapchat. That has happened as well. Hey, you know, check me out on Tell on Me. Sorry, hang on a second. The next one here is a sticker mobile app for Snapchat. It only works on Snapchat, okay? And what this app does is basically, again, almost like Tell on Me. What it does is you can send messages anonymously. You can reply to somebody anonymously. You, again, have no idea. Strangers could message you through this. They have no idea. You don't know who it's coming from. So, sorry, I had someone walk in the house. What this looks like, here's an example. So what you can do is pose a question on your Instagram story and through the YOLO app, which means you only live once. You do it through the YOLO app and then it'll pop up on your story. There will be a link there and then people and your followers can then click on that link and they can respond to you anonymously. So you can see how that can go horribly wrong as well. And if this is happening and you're now dealing with a crime that's happened on Snapchat, but it's through YOLO, you're dealing with 2 different servers and 2 totally different apps. It's just that it's affiliated with Snapchat, okay? So I'm gonna quickly go through, you know, what do you do when you find evidence through mobile apps? Okay, so obviously the first thing you're gonna do, and I have it on another slide, if you have a cybercrime unit, contact them first because that is their niche and they'll tell you exactly what they want you to do for this to go right. But screen grabbing the image is one thing, but again, if you screen grab it and they, or just grab the link to it without the image and they delete it, you're not gonna have anything. So screen grabbing it is key, whether it's from your phone if you can get it if it's open source or from the victim's phone and sent to you. Copying the link to the post and then emailing it to yourself along with a screen grab. If you've found this, whatever this post may be, and maybe there isn't a victim yet, that is what I do, because again, I want the link and I want the screen grab in case they delete it, and because it gives you all of the information. And I just went over that. So screen grabbing the account. So if you can see who it's coming from, you want to screen grab that account, all the information about that account in case they delete the account, which has happened in the past. Okay. And what you want to encourage your victims to do is not to delete their accounts or do anything drastic until you've done your investigation, because then you could lose a lot of important information from their account if they start deleting stuff or closing accounts. You want to check where the server is housed, and I'm going to show you, if you look at the websites there, I'll show you what it looks like on the next screen. So you want to check where these servers are housed, because that's important to whether you're just going to do a production order or whether you're going to do an MLAT, depending on where this server is housed. So there's two websites. There's whois.net, and then there's whois.domaintools.com. Very similar. You would put in the app's name. So you could put in YOLO, you could put in Snapchat, you can put in Tell on Me, and then it will give you all of the information. So when I say you want to grab the URL is one thing you can grab as well. When it comes to mobile apps, there's like the 3 dots on there, and you would click on that, copy the link. Every tweet, every post has a unique number attached to it, and that's what you would want. So this one here, I did Whois. And you can see I did at the top, I'm pointing like you can see what I'm pointing at, tellonme.com. And if you go down where I've circled, it is registered in Berlin. So you would have to do an MLAT to Berlin. And it's going to take a while to get that, but that's where you would get your information from. When looking for an IP address that's on a phone with an Android, if you can see, you go into your settings, and then you go into connections, and then you go into your Wi-Fi, and then it'll say IP address under the status. So the first one I screen grabbed was the one with Wi-Fi. So my Wi-Fi is on. I've grabbed that information. When you turn, and this is Android only, when you turn the Wi-Fi off, now you've got the IP address for the phone. Okay, and that's key. If you're going to need that for an investigation, that's how you grab the IP address off of a phone. So be very careful with Androids. If the Wi-Fi is on, you can see it is totally different than the IP address without the Wi-Fi on, because it's grabbing the Wi-Fi IP address. iPhones are totally different. So once you're connected to your Wi-Fi, whether it's your home or where you are, and then you click on the IP address, so the blue arrow beside where you can see where the internet's connected, will give you the IP address of the phone. So it's totally different than the Android phone, but that's how you would find the IP address on the iPhone. I'm going to give you a few bonus tips because I still have time and there's no bells ringing yet, so this is good. So here's some bonus information for you just to have. Video messaging. So when people do this on iPhones and you're doing the FaceTime one-on-one conversations, just know that there is an easy way on iPhones to record that. So now you're on FaceTime. You can see you circle it, the one that's circled. My daughter did this, hence the messy circles. But you go into your control center, customize controls, and then you take the screen recording and you would move it up. So screen recording, it will record anything on your phone that you're doing. But if you're having a video one-on-one chat, they are not going to know that you are being recorded, but you can record the screen the whole time. So it's a nice little tip for you to have. What's old is new again. If you guys remember Vine, so that was the 6-second videos that you used to be able to see. The funny videos usually is what was on there. Vine shut down a couple of years ago. One of the co-founders of Vine has now opened Byte. So if you look at Byte, it is very similar to TikTok. It has got the same type of platform, the same layout, same type of videos. So there's TikTok and there's Byte. So there's two different ones. Byte hasn't made it as big as TikTok. Byte's been around for a little bit. I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but it is out there, and just know that things can happen on there. It's the same type of thing as TikTok. So just, something to keep in mind. So when we talk about safety, I know I talk about a lot of safety and dealing with stuff in the outside world, but even our own safety, if you are an officer that deals with going into schools or dealing with parents, or you're a crime prevention officer, some great parental control apps are the Google Family Link for parents. That one there, you just need a Google account. You can go right down to turning your kids' Wi-Fi off at a certain hour. Anytime they download an app, you will be notified. You can delete the app from this app off of their phone. So you have full control of your kid's phone. So if it's something that's new for your child or new for you, and you're just not 100% comfortable with giving them that, you can have full control over this. Now you have to link it to their Gmail account, and obviously they're going to know you're doing this. The other one is a parental control screen time and location tracker. It's another one that you can go in, manage the app use as well, track them with GPS, control web access, the whole 9 yards. So it's a great, both these apps are great apps that can help you control what your kids are doing online. So what I usually tell a lot of parents or kids when I'm talking to them, if you're under the age of 14, having a profile picture is not a good idea. Why? Because if you're online, so are the pedophiles. This COVID pandemic has brought the pedophiles indoor more than they already were. And they know all the kids are on there as well. So I can tell you that cybercrime has gone up 80% since COVID started. And that could be anywhere from cyberbullying to victimization of sexual abuse and everything else under the sun. Okay, again, settings are key. Settings. You want to have the privacy settings set as high as possible. All your accounts should be private. Your family, your kids, unless you're trying to make it big and be like the next Justin Bieber, there's no need for your accounts to be wide open, or you're running a business. Okay. Again, for kids, we know this as adults. Sometimes you need to be reminded, don't allow people you don't know to follow you, because you have no idea who's behind that apparent account and who's behind that picture. Is it really the person who says they are who they are? And what I do for that, if someone wants to follow me and maybe they have, because all my stuff's under different names, my personal stuff, I will request to follow them if their account's private. I'll look at their stuff, see if I know them, and then decide. And that way they're still not looking at yours. Not to use your full name. Adults, kids, there's no need to put your full name on your account. Who are you telling? Mine's in a fake name. Well, it's not fully a fake name. It's my middle name and part of my maiden name, but it's not my actual name. And there's no need for it. They'll ask you for it, but you don't need to do it. Same with your actual handle. Don't put your full name in your handle. Come up with something creative. Locations should never be on unless you're using it for Waze or whatever the case may be, because that location will attach itself to everything you're doing online. Okay, obviously we know this, but for kids, not to meet up with people they've met online, because who you are online is not who you're going to see in person 9 times out of 10. And not giving out personal information to people you just met online, if this is what these kids are doing. Not to say where you live, your cell phone number, your date of birth, any of that stuff. So has anybody, we'll do one more hand raise here. Has anybody had, like, in a room having a conversation with somebody talking about some type of product, and the next thing you know, you go on your Instagram or your Facebook and that product is in an ad on your accounts? Do the hand wave if that's happened. Laurie, do we get any hand waves?
Yeah, just nearly everybody.
Yeah, right. So The Social Dilemma on Netflix, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It kind of basically explains all of this. And there was one line in that show that really, really hit home. And it was, if you're not buying the product, you are the product. Okay, so that basically all of these free apps, we are the product, and this is why this is happening. But go into your phone, go into your settings, go into your app settings, and make sure you've turned the microphone off. That is why this is happening. Even if you're not in Facebook and you're not in Instagram, your phone is always listening, just like the Google Home, okay, or Alexa. They're always listening. So keep that in mind. So go in, again, check your microphone settings on your actual phone and check them on the apps. Unless you're doing a live song and dance on Facebook, you don't need to have, it doesn't need access to your microphone. Here's another one, and it's a simple thing that most of us probably wouldn't think of, but this guy here ended up sexually assaulting a woman because when she posted something, obviously on a public account, she didn't have it locked down, he saw in the reflection of her sunglasses, obviously recognized where she was and hunted her down and sexually assaulted her. Okay, that's how easy it can happen when you have, because this is what he does for a living. He looks for people online, and when your accounts aren't locked down, this is what happens. For those of you who have iPhones, obviously the AirDrop, you want to have it on contacts only. We actually had some issues here where mostly kids or younger kids, teenagers, thought it would be funny to airdrop porn and then look around and see whose phone it landed on. Obviously, you have to accept it, but the fact of the matter is it's there. So, and that was a true thing that actually happened. It was on our subway system. So again, you just want to make sure you're not receiving things that you really don't want to see or that your kids don't want to see. So ensure that their phones are on contacts only or off, right? For those of you that use fitness tracking apps, which I do as well, I use a Garmin one, but the key is settings. The key is having it locked down. So if you have people, if you're in challenges, which I do, all they can see is my profile picture. That's it. They cannot see anything else. They can't see any other data on my app because I have it all shut down. So again, it's just key to ensure that all of your settings are locked because we download these apps. We think it's cool. Strava I don't use because way too much information is given out on Strava. Like you can see in this post, if it's not on Strava, it didn't happen. So I don't like it for that reason alone. But there's many different apps out there that are secure. You just have to make sure they're locked down. So again, I'm just going to reiterate key points to consider if you're dealing with a crime that has happened online. Always involved. If you have a cybercrime unit, contact them first. They may say to you, hey, you know what? You know, it's minor. You got this. We'll leave it with your division or your precinct. But they may say, you know what, we need you to do this, this, and this, right? And they may get you to screen grab the information. They may get you to capture everything from the sender or the victim. Understand where that server is housed. If you have a crime unit, cybercrime unit, they'll probably do that for you. Just to know the difference between, is it a production order or an MLAT? Grabbing the URL or copying the link to the post, like I said earlier. So the URL is basically on a laptop and copying the link is basically the URL from a mobile app. And it's usually like there's the 3 dots at the top of that post and it will be in there. Okay. Tech crime units are usually really good with the victim's phone. They'll get it back to you within 24 hours. So if you have that opportunity, get that because that's the raw data that your unit's going to need from these mobile apps. And if they'll give you their login credentials, that's another bonus to have as well from the victim's accounts because they can always sign in from elsewhere and get the information that way as well. As officers, sometimes we fall down and don't realize that we need to lock our stuff down. That's a whole other conversation I could have with you for hours on end. But again, key points are locations. Make sure your locations are turned off. I don't have profile pictures on some of my accounts because why? My friends know who I am. Again, not having your full name there. Make sure, because Facebook is famous for this, that when you're posting something, you might think your account's locked down, but in the top corner, you'll see either like 2 silhouettes or you'll see the world. You never want to see the world. That means that post is public. Anybody can see it. Okay. If you're being tagged in something, if your friend's account isn't locked down, now, you know, like the hair commercial from years ago, and they told 2 friends and they told 2 friends and so on. That's what's going to happen with that post. Many people will see it. So be very careful who you're tagging in posts if their accounts are public. And if you're being tagged in posts, you can remove yourself from a tag. Who you're friends with, right? You got to be really careful with that too. Again, because you know you can't pick your family, but you can pick your friends. Be very careful who you add onto your social media accounts. Okay. If you think that you're quietly creeping people on your accounts, say you don't have a work account, you only have personal accounts, and you want to check out some people's accounts. If you do that on Facebook, what happens is the person you're creeping, they will get a people you may know, and you're going to pop up there. I had a probation officer who had one of her clients' mothers pop up there because they were trying to find her on Facebook, and this was her personal account. So you gotta be really, really careful. And that goes back to making sure your accounts are locked down in case it happens to you, if somebody's trying to creep you. But if you, again, are trying to creep people quietly, there is no such thing because you will pop up on Instagram as well as people you may know and Twitter. Another thing you can do is Google yourself, see what you find online, see what pops up. I can tell you an incident where, and we talk about this is a little side tidbit for anyone that's in kind of the PIO role or any of that. If you post somebody on any of your social media accounts that might be missing or wanted, we had a teen that was wanted. This is back years ago. I want to say 5 years ago, maybe 6. We did a Wanted Wednesday. He was wanted. I posted it, and I may have quote tweeted it. I'm not too sure. Now this kid has turned his life around. It was one of those incidents. It was involving an ex-girlfriend. You know, it was minor. But when you Google his name, the first thing that popped up was my tweet. So what you want to do with that If you have a missing person or somebody that's wanted, if they're arrested or they are found, you need to remove their picture off your social media accounts, because otherwise that will stay with them for the rest of their lives, especially the missing person ones, especially young people that are missing. You want to make sure you remove that, and tell any of your other people that are on social media, please don't quote tweet our tweets from our corporate account. Just retweet it, because what happens is if they quote tweet it and put that missing person's name in there, then what happens is the original tweet will delete, but theirs with the person's name in it will still stay on their account. And then when you Google their name, then it's still going to pop up part of the tweet. So never quote tweet a missing person tweet, or don't put their name in it. And then you can reach out to Google and ask them to have that search engine removed, because what happens is you've now deleted the tweet, but when you run his name, it still pops up. You try and click on the tweet and it doesn't exist, but that post is still there on a Google search. So I actually did that for this young man, because it was one of those things where he was trying to turn his life around, and it was removed off Google. So all of these options are there. If you find something about yourself, all you can do is ask. Google may say no, they may not do it, or they may do it. But check and see what you find. It's key. Any questions? Look at that. Laurie Stevens, I did it.
Yeah, I know. I want you all to know that this is the first time McCann has come in under time. And
I'm impressed with myself.
She would think something's wrong if I didn't give her a hard time. So that's why I have to do that.
I
So we do have one question. Lynn is asking, what do you know about the app Twitch?
Yeah, so Twitch is similar to Discord. It's a gaming app. And again, you follow streams on there. So if you're the Fortnite person or Call of Duty person, you can follow these streams of people. You can watch them play the game live. You can interact with them live. And you can also send private messages to that app. I'm not fully versed on Twitch, but I do know that it's very similar to Discord, and it's big in the gaming world. So
yeah, it's huge in the gaming world. You do have to have
huge.
an account to comment and things
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, you do.
I actually know a young woman who makes a living she's a Twitch partner, and she makes a living streaming games. She sits and plays games for hours every day. Somehow she's earning money.
On Twitch. Well, you probably get, just thinking if you're now promoting certain games and that app, yes, I could see how you would get paid. But it is a huge gaming app, and any gamer would know about it. If they don't know about it, they're not true gamers or lying.
Right. No, you're right. So Lynn, I'm allowing you to talk. Did you get your question answered? Do you have any follow-up?
Yeah, you answered it. My son was asking to have it, and I don't allow him to have any social media at all. So I'd never heard of it and wondered what it was, but he's a big gamer, so that does make sense.
How old is he?
He's 14.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you, but again, I would sit down with him and download it together and go through all of the settings. Yeah, setting the key for him is to make sure that it's not that it is locked down.
I think it's probably pretty tough to be a gamer and not be using it.
Yeah, and you can always download the app on your phone too, and sign in as well, and then you can watch everything he's doing with his sign in to his account. I have that. My kids are on my phone.
Maybe I'm just mean. I don't let him have any social apps or any of these, so he's not getting this one either. So I guess he's not going to make it as a gamer.
You mean, Mom?
I am.
You got to do what you got to do.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Do what you think is right. I'm sure you're a great mom. Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. So thank you, Laurie. I don't have any other questions showing up. So I do want to mention, though, that on Friday at 1, we have a presentation from the sponsor Scope Now, and they're going to be showing us some of their methodology using their platform to do automated intel searches and the like. But they're focusing on Telegram and TikTok, which is interesting to me because I didn't think you could get anything out of Telegram. I thought it was, quote unquote bulletproof, but they tell me they do. And so those of you who are interested in this topic might want to take in that presentation. And the other thing I need to tell you about that presentation is that when you get the link, it's only going to be about half there. I have to remove everything that one of the speakers says. So if you're interested, don't wait for the link and show up live for that one on Friday. All righty. And if that's it, no questions. Thank you so much, Constable McCann.
You're very welcome.
You look lovely as always.
Thank you.
And we'll talk soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.